heck, okay, so this is my least favorite boss in the game. No Eyes isn't especially difficult, she doesn't have bizarre hitboxes or unpredictable attacks or anything, she's just annoying. And honestly, a little boring. Her sole attack is Spirit Wave, which she uses constantly for the entire fight, summoning these spirity projectiles to float their way from one side of the screen to the other. She'll always summon 2 at a time, 1 from each end of the screen. In a way, this is more of a platforming challenge than a boss fight, since our only goal here is to chase No Eyes as she teleports around this especially large arena, getting in what damage we can while dodging the spirit onslaught. As she gets lower on HP, the spirits start appearing more frequently. At the start of the fight, one will appear every 2.25 seconds. Get her to 150 HP and that becomes 1.75 seconds. 90 HP and we're down to 1.25, which can cause things to get a little hectic. It probably sounds a lot harder than it is, but the biggest advantage we have is the sheer amount of space we have to work with. Even when the spirits become relentlessly frequent, we'll still have plenty of space to heal should we need, especially down on this lower area. From there, it's just a matter of finding and hitting No Eyes. I recommend always resetting to the center platform if you don't see her. The dream particles she emits when she appears are pretty easy to spot, and from there, all you need to worry about is doing as much damage as possible. Sometimes she teleports away the moment she's hit, sometimes she sticks around a little longer, and it's impossible to tell what she'll do. So, spells, and especially our brand new nail art, are going to be great for getting this whole fight over with quickly, and I must say, I dearly wish to do just that. Our next foe is upstairs, No Eyes. Not too much different, although it is worth noting that this is just about the only boss fight in the game who you would normally need the Lumafly Lantern to fight, and this arena is now lit up whether or not you have it, although technically you couldn't possibly have fought her to the point of earning the ability to do this fight without having it in the first place, but if you were to hack the game to remove the Lumafly Lantern from yourself, this arena would still be as bright as it could be. And can you tell I'm kind of reaching for stuff to talk about this really, really simple boss fight? Not to worry, she's definitely going to mix things up on us a lot on Ascended. This is probably the most significant arena change in the game, not just removing the floor, but adding spikes, not spikes, but thorns, everywhere. Everywhere. This was already more of a challenge of platforming, than it is a challenge of combat, and now that is exemplified on this arena. And a lot of the platforms that we have access to are placed almost as inconveniently as possible. The one we have down in the bottom truly showing that off, and this spike set of thorns up in the top is just overbearing, honestly. But shoot, ouch. She's still simple on a conceptual level. All it's going to take her down is a bit of patience. But, as perhaps you are noticing by how many hits I'm taking, Radiant on this fight is going to be no picnic. Oops, she did get me. Alright, I'm going to use more nail arts, as I had recommended, although she is oftentimes in more difficult positions to land a nail art, like when she shows up in that bottom corner there. And due to the absence of a floor, healing is now much harder in this fight than it was in the original. None of the platforms feel particularly safe from the onslaught of spirits. Goodness, ouch. Although they are still infrequent enough that you should still be able to heal off a few, should you need to. Okay, now I'm not even gonna attempt the Radiant version of this fight without my Overcharm set. That's just not happening. Going into Radiant, as you may expect, the key here is going to be patience. I highly recommend just choosing maybe 2 or 3 platforms that you're comfortable platforming between. And if she doesn't appear close enough to one of those, just wait her out. Having a lot of soul is going to be exceptionally helpful for reaching out beyond your comfort zone. and using some liberal Shade Souls and perhaps even some Descending Darks to brute force your way past many of her, oh shoot, oncoming projectiles can be a pretty good idea as well. We're going to take small mercies as they come here. 800 health is not a lot. It is always good that the Dream Warriors do not exceed 1,000 health, otherwise we would definitely be here for a fair bit longer than I would like. This might almost be a fight that I would consider King Soul for instead of Soul Eater, just because we are going to be spending a lot of time not doing any attacks. I do recommend hanging out towards the top half of the arena. It just gives you slightly more wiggle room than these lower platforms. Because if you're here and you need to dodge downward, you only have one option. And then if you're down there and you need to dodge downward, then you are in all kinds of trouble. Dodging downward isn't always the best idea, but frequently because you are assisted by gravity, it is sometimes a little easier. It's also a little easier from this platform than it is the large central one there, because if you do need to dodge downward from that one, you have to contend with the spikes. I keep saying spikes. Thorns are different than spikes, primarily because they can't be nail pogoed off of. I don't like this right now, alright? Listen, No Eyes. There are some spikes down way at the bottom that can be pogoed off of, but that sounds riskier than just trying to dodge the projectiles normally. Yikes! Yikes! Oh shoot! Dang it! Ah! Okay, I was definitely being too aggressive there. That's my fault. This is the problem with these patience-intensive fights, is that they tend to make you want to be riskier than is necessary. But just take it slow, and not like that, and we'll get it eventually. Oh yeah, and she does like to spawn inside the thorns sometimes, just because she's that awful of a person. Shoot. That's why I don't like that lower platform. There was nowhere for me to go other than down. Yikes. Shoot. Ah, man. I do really like to use the Shade Soul to dodge while also going down from this top platform. Ah, that was just mean. Okay, now they're coming fast and loose. Okay, there we go. Whew, that was really close at the end there. But we did manage that. And she is far from the worst of them. Thanks for watching, or in No Eyes' case, thanks for listening to this episode of Boss Blitz. You can check out the playlist in the top left for context of any of the clips that you saw today. Next up, we're gonna take on another Dream Warrior, Elder Who. Who? Huh? Huh? I don't know.